Welcome back to Fast Lane Lifestyle. I am Alicia Powell, and this is our Girl Chat edition. Today, I am here with the lovely and inspiring Trudy.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm amazing.
How are you enjoying living in Jamaica temporary? I know you're here on a visit.
I really, really love Jamaica. I'm in love with Jamaica.
And what is like your favorite patois word to say and favorite dish?
So when it comes to dishes, just like Maya said, our favorite is plantain porridge. It tastes like custard.
Oh,
Very tasty, very unique, and that's one thing we're taking to Ghana with us.
Yes.
Since they also have a lot of plantain, we're gonna be making plantain porridge as well. My favorite word, patois word. I've got so many. I've got where do I start? First of all, I just love how Jamaicans sound. Do you know that Kenya is the reggae capital of the world out of Jamaica?
Really?
Yes. So we've grown up with a lot of influence, Jamaican influence.
Okay.
It's like so strong. You've got Kenyans speaking like Jamaicans.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I'm learning something new. Wow, that's amazing.
It's very strong. Actually, during way back when there was the issue of Gaza and Gali, when they used to fight, Kenya was affected because we had the youth in the ghetto, dividing themselves and like, we are Gaza, we are Gali. And I was like, what's that?
What?
And they said in Jamaica. Then they explained that to me years back.
Oh my
That's how
goodness.
strong the influence is. Another thing is that, your artists are on our cars.
Really?
Yeah, we've got cars. In Kenya, we have the craziest cars in the whole world. Our cars are a work of art. It's our culture. So we've got artists painted on them, heroes, people who inspire the world.
Wow.
So you've got people painted on them. And the music there is usually just Jamaican. We've grown up listening to lots of Jamaican music. Yeah. So I love the way they speak. And being here is just crazy. Like, I feel like, oh my God, finally. Like,
right.
I can't get over it. So my favorite word, to answer your question. Sorry, I'm talking too much.
No, that's why we're here.
I just love, you know what?
What?
I never knew what wagwan meant.
Really?
Until I came here, I was like, wagwan. So, yeah, because you hear a lot of it, but it's like, even so many things, I didn't know what they meant. But now I understand. But I love Yezimi.
Yes.
I use that a lot. and that me I say too.
Okay. My friend was here recently and she kept saying, good buddy girl, forget things. Like that was her her thing. But since we kind of started on with the introduction, I was gonna give you the room to introduce anyone watching that is their first time hearing about you, what you do, how you got. Let's start with what you do, and then we'll get into other conversations.
Hey guys, my name is Miss Trudy. I am an African born in Kenya, and I do travel and lifestyle content.
And how did you get into that?
Well, I got into it about 5 years ago.
Okay.
I used to work in a supermarket. I was a sales girl doing promotions for different companies. It wasn't a permanent job. You'd work for maybe a month or only the weekends, like 4 weekends of a month. Stand in the supermarket from morning till evening. Just selling a product.
Right.
And then that's how I used to make my money. And I did that for about 3 years. And I got to a point where I was getting depressed. I was getting tired. And I felt like there has to be more to life. This can't be it for me.
Right.
Plus my legs started swelling,
Yeah, the standing. I can relate. I used to be a sales associate as well. Like I used to work at a clothing store and I used to like then model part-time. So I understand like when it comes to like the hustling and the bustling as well. So then how did you stumble upon content like YouTube, all of that good stuff?
So I got fired.
Okay.
My immediate boss fired me because I was going to be promoted by her boss, who was the owner of the company. But for me, I'm an introvert. I just do my work and I go home. But there were so many girls who were all over her. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I get that.
So they can get promoted, loud and all that. Yes. So I was just minding my business. And one day the owner of the company came to work and he was like, oh, like I didn't know who he was. But the way I sold the product, he was so impressed and he was like, you deserve a promotion. I was like, finally, all my life, like I dreamt of just getting that promotion,
it's coming.
I was like, God has finally answered my prayer. But then this lady went and told the boss that, oh, I don't go to work some days. And then I go late when I go. I don't do a good job. She just lied.
Right.
And I remember thinking I was going to be promoted, being very excited. But unfortunately, I was fired. And I cried in front of everybody. I cried. I remember going home crying. I thought that was the worst day of my life. And I was like, God, why would you let this happen to me? You know I am genuine. You know I've been working hard. You know I deserve it. You know I've been praying to you for this. What's going on? You know she lied. Like, why are you letting this happen to me? Anyway, I went home. But looking back, it's actually the best thing that ever happened to me because I think I would still be stuck there. But because of that, I went home. I was so depressed. I used to cry a lot. And one day I was home and I stumbled onto YouTube and I watched people's music. And then when I saw people creating videos, I was like, oh, wow. So you can actually create content. But those are white people. Then when I saw black people, I was like, oh, listen, I can do this too.
I'm there too. I see people doing it that look like me. Yes.
So
representation is always so important.
Exactly. So I decided to start, but I was all over the place. I didn't know what I was doing, but I just started with what I had. I had a very poor phone, very bad quality, but I was just excited to create content, and I created content for about a year. I wasn't making any money, but I was in love with content creation. And you'd have people laughing at you, and you'd be like, even my parent was like, no, you need to think of where you want your life to.
No, because Africans, if you're not a doctor, a lawyer, and you're just talking to a camera, you must be going crazy.
Exactly. My dad wanted me to be a nurse. So he was like, you can do nursing, but I was like, that's not my passion. I'm not feeling that. And some of my friends would laugh at me, like, who does she think she is? What is she doing? It was just hilarious. But thank God I kept going.
Yes.
But then after about 1 year, I just started getting tired because my first salary from YouTube was $100. At first I was very excited, but then after some time it's like, listen, this is so little.
Right.
So I was so depressed. I was like, I don't want to do 9 to 5. I can't do 9 to 5. Because I just felt like I have a lot more to offer, but I didn't know how.
Right.
Yeah. So that period of my life, I used to pray a lot. I needed direction. I didn't know how I would get to where I needed to get, but I knew I need to get somewhere bigger than I can imagine. So I was so depressed. I just,
Yes.
And that's the time when I just went online on my Instagram after being offline for 3 months, and I get a message from a random guy. Yeah, his name is Maya.
I love this story. Somebody slid in the DMs.
Yeah, I'm like, who's this guy? Like, my name is Maya. I'm like, dude, leave me alone. You know what I'm saying? I'm just living my life.
I mean, you're like, right now is not the time. I am going through it. Life is happening to me right now.
You understand?
Yes.
So he's like, yo, I'm coming to Kenya. I'd like to link up with you to create content. I'm like, oh, okay. But then I realized that he sent it 3 months ago.
Okay.
So I responded and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm saying this now. Maybe next time. He's like, okay. So then I start stalking him. I go to his YouTube and I'm like, ooh.
I love the honesty. So I start stalking him.
So I went to YouTube and I'm like, ooh, 90,000 subscribers. Damn. I think I was was I at 6K or 10K? I can't remember.
Yes.
Like, oh, 90,000 subscribers. Then I start watching his videos. His first video that I watched was him being arrested in Kenya. And I felt so embarrassed. Like, oh, this happened in my country.
Wait, he was arrested in Kenya?
Yeah, he was arrested. For filming. Just for filming. Like, you're not allowed to film here. Okay. So I felt so bad and I reached out and I told him, I'm sorry. I saw your video. You're arrested.
Yes.
I'm so sorry. Please come back again. We'll make sure it doesn't happen. Then we started talking.
Okay.
He asked for my number. He texted me on WhatsApp. Then we started chatting. And then he was like, you know what? I'm going to Ethiopia. Do you want to come? I'm like, just leave me alone. Like, I'm depressed. Leave me alone with my depression.
So were you playing hard to get? Was there some interest there? Or were you just really I'm really going through it, up and down motion?
I was just dealing with a lot.
Okay.
Because I didn't know where my life was heading.
Right.
So I was like...
And then to add a man to that, you're like, I don't need any more stress.
Just leave me alone, man.
Yes.
So then after thinking, I was like, what do I have to lose? I'm already at rock bottom.
Right.
And let me just take the risk and go to Ethiopia and meet up with this guy. So I did. I had $400 that I had saved. That was all the money I had. So I bought my ticket and I was like, I'll survive the rest in Ethiopia.
Oh wow.
So in Ethiopia and Kenya we're neighbors. So
Yes.
the ticket was about $200 and something, not so expensive. So yeah, so I went to Ethiopia, meet up with this guy. Like, yeah. I didn't know it, but he saw me and he fell for me. But
Like
then I
love
was
at
like,
first sight. He was just like, ooh, drooling.
Exactly. But that he told me later. For me, I was just there to work, you understand? But one thing he did that caught my attention, he brought me flowers at the airport.
Oh, that is so cute.
And that's the sweetest thing anyone had ever done to me up to that point. No one had ever given me flowers.
Oh.
And I thought it was such a beautiful gesture.
Yes.
And it was so sweet.
Yes.
Like, oh my God. Like, I felt so happy.
Oh, he swept you off. So at that point, you were like, okay, this could be. Did you feel like this could be the one?
He just made me so happy, but nah. I was like, this is so special. But because no one has ever done this for me. Because you see, in my mind, I was thinking like, I need to make it. I need to do something with my life. Right. I wasn't looking for any relationship. But I was like, oh, wow. And then I kept it in my room for days. I was like, wow, this guy is so sweet. Like flowers. That's when I knew like flowers, they mean a lot to me. Right. Like when you give me flowers, I just love it.
Yes.
So yeah, I was creating content.
So after creating that content with him, and then after that, did you kind of figure like, how did you guys build from there? And how did that help you on your journey? Like, because clearly you guys have like a balance of like, husband and wife now today. And then kind of in a sense, like you guys get to work together. You travel, you shoot your content, he shoots his. So you've kind of learned to like coexist in the content creating world. So how like did it translate in the beginning after you've shot your first content?
Okay, we were in Ethiopia for about a week.
Okay. Yeah. That's a long time.
Mm-hmm. But he was in his own hotel room. I was in my own hotel room.
You see how she specified that? She's like, no funny business was going on.
Yeah, he was in his own room and I was in mine. And he helped me a lot when it came to content creation. First of all, before I met him, I was uploading a video, I think, once a week. And then when I met him, he was like, is this what you do full time? I was like, yeah. He's like, and you upload once a week? I said, yeah. He told me, if it's what you do full time, you need to do more because people go to work every day.
Right.
So if this is your work, you can't go once a week and expect results. So you need to upload more. I was like, oh, wow. Then he taught me how to put ads on my videos because I didn't know how to put ads.
To monetize your videos.
Exactly, to monetize. The third thing that he taught me was how to be confident in my own self because I used to put other people's names on my on my tags. I just didn't have confidence.
Right.
I didn't know how to go about it. So he taught me so much. And for the first time in my life, I made $1,000.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, wow.
That trip was
worth it.
This is possible.
Yeah, yes. It was more than worth it. It's like, how? From making, it's like I made 10 times what I had ever made. And then he left Ethiopia. He went to Rwanda. Then I was to leave a few days after he left. And then I went back to Kenya. And then he went to Tanzania. And then he was texting me. I guess he just couldn't get me off his mind.
Right. He was just like, I cannot.
That girl. Yeah. So texting me, So I responded. And I think is that when we made our relationship something like I asked him, what are we doing? Because don't waste my time. I don't want to waste yours.
I love you. You're just direct. She's like, please just.
Yeah, because you're texting me a lot. You're calling me a lot. Like, what is this? You understand? What's happening? Plus, we had been warned about Nigerian men and Ghanaian men, West African men in general.
Wow, really? Is that what's happening? Why?
You already know how it is. You already know how it is. Like, you're told they're dangerous men, stay away. Red flag. As long as you see the green passport, run for your life. Run. Run while you still can.
But you didn't run.
No.
You didn't. You're a rebel. You didn't run. You chose not to run.
Something about him kept me around. You understand? It was different about him. And I stuck around. Thank God I did.
Yes.
Yeah, because he just seemed and felt different.
Right.
So I stuck around and he came to Kenya and we made our relationship official. And I think he was God sent. Now that I look back, I
yeah.
feel like the prayers I used to pray, God sent someone to just direct me because he taught me so much, not just about finances, but
Yes.
about YouTube.
Right.
Like the YouTube I am today is mostly because of Maya. And also me to be a better person. I didn't know that I had a temper. Apparently I did. And I never knew, like you see other people, you're like,
I think
oh, she has a temper.
I think us women do, especially on certain time of the month, just
Yeah.
a little bit, we'll be trying to control it. But yeah, that is really beautiful. And then, like, would you say, okay, we're gonna have fun with this. Who said I love you first?
He did.
So he was really smitten.
Yeah, he was. Head over heels.
I love that. And then, so like in today's world, fast forward, when did you guys get married and how long have you guys been married for?
We got married 1 year ago.
Wow, that's beautiful. You guys got married in Kenya, I see.
Yeah.
And how do you guys balance like work? I know I asked him that when we sat down with working and, being married because you guys are still newlyweds, right? How is that balance coming on? Is it still like figuring itself out or do you have like a routine already in place? In case anyone watching right now that, husband and wife content creators and they're kind of like saying, how do we figure this out, right? Because you still need to be in tune with each other, right? You're working with like real people, real feelings. How does that happen?
Well, I think we're still working to get the perfect balance. We're still work in progress.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, like I would say for us, it's like being intentional, right? It's like, the thing about being content creators, I know it's easier said than done. It's also being aware that sometimes you can easily just get caught up in like working all throughout the hours, right? So being intentional of like, maybe at 6 p.m., I'm just gonna go and sit down with my husband for like 30 minutes. We're just gonna eat dinner together and just feel that moment, right? So someone asked, how do we keep going? And I said, for us, it's different because our vlog is like family oriented, it's our marriage. So I said, it's just us day to day. Like we wake up and it's us. We're not pretending to be anything or be anyone else but ourselves. But also, we'll be out, like, and I know we're on this trip and we're going to vlog. I'll look at him and I'll say, after this, I just need a moment where it's just us. I don't need the camera. I just want us to have our time as well. And guess what? We'll still leave the trip and still have a video, right? So like it's like little things like that. I know he's like trying to act like he's invisible right now. He's like, let me vanish from this room. Yes. Yeah, so like we had our anniversary recently and he was like videoing the entire time and it got to a point where I was like, okay, I've given him and I'm trying to be mindful that it's also like work as well, that you've had at least an hour to video. Let's try and have some moments where we keep to ourselves and just live in the moment and you're able to actually enjoy this big surprise that you've, planned for me as well. So anyone watching, that would be my advice. I want to dibble and dabble into like a little bit of like money management. Like anyone watching this that's starting out and they're like, okay, I'm starting to see money coming in. How would you tell them that? How would you be able to invest that money? Any word of advice? Because sometimes a lot of fast money you see coming in and you're like, okay, then it's easy to just blow that. Right. So what would be your advice to any young lady watching right now?
Okay, so for me, best advice I got from my dad, I don't know if it's the best for everyone, but it was the best for me, was you have to sacrifice painfully. By that, it means, and another thing he used to say, you can either decide to start with the bone and end with the meat, or start with the meat and end with the bone. But whichever you start with, you'll have to finish with the other. So from that, what we do is when we get our money, passion of mine and Maya's out of YouTube is real estate. We just love real estate. So we invest, man, I think more than half, maybe 2/3 of our money in real estate. Immediately the money comes in, it goes straight into real estate. And then now the little we remain with is what we budget on. Like we survive on that.
Okay.
Yeah, we just sacrifice. Like for us, we know where our priorities are. I thank God we have enough money than we'd ever thought we'd ever have, but we have our priorities. So because of our priorities in real estate, you find that we're not there buying fancy clothes, fancy shoes, fancy bags. It's not that we can't afford it.
I know you said that someone had a comment saying, "What is that? The only purse you own? Why you always wear the same purse?"
I took a picture with a handbag, and someone was like, "Is that the only handbag you have?" Because you have it in all your photos. Oh God, it was so funny. And then I was like, ask me how many houses I have, not how many handbags I have.
Right.
Because my priorities are different.
Yes.
Yeah, so for us, real estate is more important. And sometimes they're like, oh my God, we need to buy clothes. Like we've been wearing the same clothes for a minute. And but Maya is even worse than me. I'd be going to shop and I'm like, oh man, like he really needs new clothes.
Yeah.
But then, I don't mind that. I'd rather have someone who invests his money in property other than just squander it.
Right.
And then at the end of the day, you really have nothing because I feel like it's an investment. Yes. So in future, I'll be able to look back and be like, the sacrifice was worth it.
Yes.
I didn't get to look very style. I'm not saying that we don't look good. We're also going to try to look better because now we've been working with brands. Maya is working with some brands that just want to dress us up.
Right.
But I'm just saying, when you get our money, first thing we think about is real estate. Right. Just drop the money into that house.
You're thinking generational wealth. You're thinking long term,
exactly.
Right?
So yeah, for me, that's what I think. And for me, that's what I'd advise someone because, especially if you don't make enough money and you decide to just save a little, when you'll even have enough to buy a house, But if you can sacrifice, but it also depends, This is just from my own point of view because I understand that everyone's life is different. For me, one thing I did, I told myself I wouldn't leave my dad's house until I bought my own house. You see, when you're young, when you're 20, guys are like, oh, you're 20 and you're living with your dad. I'm like, yeah.
Right.
Like, he's not chasing me, Because in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, if I leave the house, I have to pay rent. That money that I used to pay rent, I'd rather use to save it.
Right.
I think I've really been saving a lot because when I told you I used to work in the supermarket, I used to save all my money, such that when I stopped working after the 3 years, I went to withdraw my cash and the lady was like, how old are you again? What do you do?
Right.
Because I was withdrawing so much money and I used the first amount of money to just build 2 apartments.
Wow.
So in my mind, it's like, you've got to save for tomorrow, because tomorrow is not promised. So yeah, that's how I am. And I think my husband is also the same way. So we just save. Like we don't. And then we were told a secret that it's not really advisable to put your money in the bank. So it's better to do land banking or to build apartments or houses. So.
Right. That's beautiful. I think someone watching, we can always use advice in terms of like saving, because you get caught up. Like you go on social media right now, you see this, you see that, oh, I want this, I want that as well. I want to look like this. So it's good to differentiate like social media and then think long term. We're all slowly aging. We're all getting there, We're not racing there, but it's going to happen. And we want to live comfortably, right?
Yeah.
How do you handle being married to a public figure, a celebrity? How do you handle that?
Well, oh man, like what do I say? Let me tell you, long ago, when we started dating, I used to be so stressed out. I used to cry a lot because I'd have people sending me messages, sending me screenshots. Like, did you see he hugged this? Did you see how he hugged her? Did you see the passion when he was hugging her? This girl has negative intentions. You better be careful with this girl, Trudy.
I can relate.
Better be careful with this girl. So I used to cry. I used to be all over the place. I'd watch a video. I'd cry. Like, he'd come home. He opens the door and I'd be crying. I'm like, why did you do it? He's like, what did I do? I'm like, look at the video.
He's like clueless.
He's like, I didn't do anything. But you see the people I've talked to, man, the things they've told me, I'm like, wait till he comes home.
Right.
Man, I used to be so depressed. I even got to a point, I never told him this, but I stopped watching his videos.
Oh my goodness.
Because I would just cry. Like, I'd see women in his videos and I'd be like, oh my God, Then I was like, what kind of life is this? How am I going to survive?
Yes.
So initially it used to be really, really crazy. Then I had to get to a point where I stay focused. And someone gave me amazing advice, and they told me, you can't control your man, but God can control him. So you pray to God and God will take care of him, Just pray to God not to lead him into temptation. And even if he does, not to make him fall.
Right.
Because, you can't be on his case all the time.
No.
So
And they still have eyes.
Exactly. Plus also I trust the kind of man that he is. I know he knows that he has something good going with me. So I don't think he would want to ruin that. So these days, I don't even think of that. Plus, I trust him.
Right.
Plus, also, we talked about boundaries.
Right.
There are things you're not supposed to do.
Yes.
Because to some ladies, once you're just friendly with them, they think, oh,
no,
he's into me.
I had to have a chat like that with somebody in this room as well. Yeah. Yeah, no, like, because I understand, like, my husband has a really jokey personality, and sometimes I'm like, it could come off like you're, flirting, or someone that has bad intentions could take it that way. So, yes.
Yeah, sometimes it's just being friendly, but girls will be like, oh, maybe I can take it a step further.
Yeah.
Like, let me tell you, women are crazy out there. Women are so crazy. Like, there's a time we went to Rwanda. Maya was being awarded an award, and I went with him.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, when he came off stage, he went backstage, and there was this lady who was telling him, oh, I just came here just because of you. And Maya was like, what do you mean? He said, I saw the poster and they said, the Maya will be there, I will be attending. So I just came because of you. And the lady was like, how about you come over? We go somewhere tonight. Like, he's just telling him that he wants to sleep with him. And I'm like, don't you have respect? Like, your wife, the wife is here.
Right.
So it's like the audacity.
Yeah, no, I find that in this, like, time that we're in, they're very bold with it. It's like, where before it's like, a lot more, or maybe for me, I'm new to this, because it's like long time. Okay, because I'm just like, I look at myself and I'm like, I cannot do that, So I'm like, that's very bold, and especially like you just said, I'm the wife, I'm right here, and I'm sure you know that I'm married, like he's married, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I find that that's even more of an attraction to them. Like they want to know, like, that happiness she has, I want that piece of it. Or it's like a challenge. They like the challenge, So it's definitely...
It's really crazy, It's really crazy when he travels sometimes. The man would be like, are you laughing? Are you laughing already?
I'm laughing because I just know there's more stories to come.
It's just so many. I can't say all of them. But, well, you see, it comes with trusting. Like, I know he just can't do nothing. Yeah, and you know what's good about everything?
Yes.
He's a public figure. So guys will be taking videos.
No, it will come out. That's another part.
Exactly.
Like, you don't have to stress. They can't do anything in secrecy.
This comes out. Plus, anyway, these women out there, like, they don't love them. Exactly. They don't love them for who they are. They just want something from them.
Yes.
And then they'd be hiding photos and videos, and then it will come out. So
it comes out.
It's your loss. Like, you can't do anything stupid. Now so
they have to think.
Exactly.
And then I think, like, before we end this chat, I wanted to end with, like, you were saying really something beautiful about, like, what attracted you to him before we started filming. And I would love if you could share that.
Okay, so what I love most about my husband, Maya, is I feel like he is the smartest man on this planet, and that is the sexiest thing to me. For me, what attracts me to a person is how they think. Whether they are a girl or a man, like, if you're a girl and you're thinking big, like, I want to be your friend, But for my husband, he has big aspirations. He thinks big. His dreams are just unbelievable. So anytime he talks, I fall in love with him. Like, again,
that's so
the things
beautiful.
he says, like the things he says, it's more than motivating me. They make me dream. They make me see nothing is impossible. We can actually achieve this. And I see him working so hard. He's the most hardworking person I know. And just the way he reasons. Not many people reason like, I feel like he reasons like a 100-year-old man, but in a young man's body. You understand?
Right.
So it's like, damn.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is it for you.
Like, keep talking. I'm listening.
My man.
I could listen to him all day, So even sometimes I'm watching his videos and I'm like, oh yeah,
That's my man. I love that.
He has so much wisdom and I thank God for him.
I love that. So to end off, let's say anyone watching right now, think back to a few years ago, 5 years ago, a young Miss Trudy watching this video that feels and was at the same place you were mentally and actually wants to start content creating. People around them are not understanding that world and are putting them down. What advice would you give to that young person watching right now?
Wow. So what I'd say is really nothing is impossible. I never used to think I'd be where I am today. I still have a long way to go, but I thank God I'm not where I used to be. I haven't come from a family where we even used to fly. We never used to fly. I used to see people flying and I was like, wow, I hope one day I'd be able to just fly, But it seemed far-fetched.
Right.
But now we're living the dream. It's more than we ever imagined. It's more than we ever asked for. So really nothing is impossible, And I remember when I wanted to do content, I just didn't see the end, but I knew there was something bigger. So if you feel like there's something bigger, it's probably because there is. So just pray about it. And you don't need to know how it's gonna happen. You just need to believe that it's gonna happen. Because with God, nothing is impossible.
I love that. That's a great way to end it. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your stay here in Jamaica. And thanks for tuning in into the Fast Lane Lifestyle Girl Chat edition. And stay tuned. Like, subscribe, and all the good stuff. Tell your friends and aunties and uncles, tell your whole family to get you some Fast Lane Lifestyle. Thank you.